All right. See, I have this thing where I know what I'm doing. A teacher I might be eventually, but. So, Fly System, I know you've been in a couple of, hey, look at this. This is a Fly System.
I've installed arbors and
You've installed arbors?
I built a theater in Lehigh, so I understand how the arbor system
Get out.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case, you know the bits. For the purpose of the recording, I'm still going to go over the bits.
Thank you.
This is a working line, also called an endless line. This is an arbor. It is the counterweight system that balances what is out there and what is out here. In the purposes of this building, this is a single purchase fly system. What that means is that for every 1 foot of movement here, you have 1 foot of movement out here. Typically, on stage, you always want to be pulling down. You don't want to be pushing the rope up. So for bringing something in, typically the on stage, you will pull that down, and that will bring the arbor up, the batten down.
Yep.
If you want to bring something down, if I were to try and bring this leg in, I would pull the off stage one. It will bring the arbor down where all the weight is, and the legs up.
So tell us what you just did right there.
This is sometimes called a lock. It is not a lock, it is a brake. What it does is add resistance to the line so that if I move this out a bit and it is properly balanced, that will hold it. If that or the batten is much overbalanced, it will still pull through it. If I hang on this rope, it'll still pull through that brake and slowly damage it. What you would do in that case, if you have something that is too much weight for a brake, you do what's called a snub. Will you grab me that pipe? Snubs can be done with pipes. They can be done with a tool called a snub or a knuckle buddy, depending on where you are. They can be done with rope. What you are doing when you snub is you are adding friction to the system, because the friction with the rope will hold itself. There is no way I, with my body, could pull that through itself. Even if the lock were undone, that's not going anywhere. However, since it is just snubbed off with a pipe, that would require supervision. That would require somebody with a hand on it, making sure that that doesn't go anywhere, because if it does and things are overbalanced, a line could run. It could, when a line runs, the heavier side falls all the way in.
Ooh.
That can be disastrous.
That can kill somebody.
That can directly kill somebody if something falls on someone. If we have a piece of scenery out here, when that runs in, that will fall, damage the stage, damage the scenery, damage the floor, damage the fly system, damage anyone under it.
Whew.
In standard arbors, that can also throw bricks,
Gosh.
which means bricks fall out of the system,
Oh my gosh.
and suddenly this side is heavier or lighter again. If that has fallen off out there, things can get unbalanced again, and this side could then fall in. So we always snub things off. We always lock things off, apply our brakes, and we don't run anything without knowing that it is balanced, knowing that it's not going to run by itself. Yeah. In these particular arbors, find which keys those are. In these particular arbors, you figure out the magic key, unlock it, and it's really, really nice because I'm a liar. There we go.
Oh.
You're too high. So how many bricks down here?
I'm way too short for these kind of things too.
You are fine. Let's see which one will do it.
Hmm.
All right, you. There we go. Standard arbors are set up a different way, an interesting way. The one you built was probably standard, with just
Plates.
Yep. It'll have a plate on the bottom, 2 pipes going up, and separator plates, spreader plates that go every so often up the arbor. These box arbors are really cool.
Quite nice.
I'm gonna go all the way up there to 27. These bricks
Those are the bricks.
are a bit lighter than most bricks.
How much would you say?
About 16 pounds.
Something like that.
That's pretty specific. Wow, good for you.
The way they go in. Making sure that it is always held from below, from around, however you need to hold it. You put it through there, slide it into place, and when you are finished, you lock this down around it.
So it's 23.
And the bricks balance whatever you've got on the batten, right?
Yes, for every pound you have out on the batten, you need a pound out here.
Okay.
In the past, some things have been set for the duration of a show with proper permission from a technical director by just tying the rope off to itself with a separate rope. It's called a rope snub. The goal is the same as the twist. And that is add friction to the system so it can't run. When you rope snub, you tie it off, you make sure that it's good and tight together. Tie that rope off to something, typically this bar, and that will hold it snubbed for indefinitely, as
And
long as that rope
Do they
doesn't-
have specific rope that you use? Is it like the same as this? Do they have specific ropes to use for the snub? Or can it just be one of those tie lines?
A typical tie line probably wouldn't be the best idea. What we used last time I did that was sash cord.
Sash cord.
But something with a bit more thickness and bite to it.
Okay.
Let's see. Stage right ladder, that's not what we want. Chris, you fly the first leg out about overhead high. A little more. And you're good. Okay. All right, go ahead and bring it back to the deck. There you go. Moving them is not hard when they're balanced right. I'm gonna bring this guy all the way in. Pipe coming in, downstage. As a flyman, always call that. You want to not only watch what's happening or have somebody spotting you, Jesus, you also want to call it and make it known that there's something coming in so that nobody bonks their head.
This is the really dangerous thing.
It can be. Some of the more valuable advice I've been given is bang is not in and clang is not out. Okay. You've got lift lines. You've got batten. This can be referred to as truss batten or ladder batten. Anytime you inspect any of this, you want to make sure that these guys are moused off. That the turnbuckles have these wires or zip ties or something, making it so that that can't spin. If you speak with one thing I should say for the purposes of the video and purposes of you going forward, this training exercise today will not make you a flyman. You are not necessarily going to be able to turn around to the local and say,
I don't expect that.
I'm a flyman now.
No.
That's not how I operate anyways.
You have to have training.
Further training beyond this is a very, very, very good idea.
Thank you for qualifying that.
Yeah. If I were to say this makes you a flyman,
Liability.
somebody could get hurt down the line, and whether I'm responsible for that or not, I don't want that to happen.
Right.
Typically, you're going to have a center line. Our lovely pipes at the Eccles have foot marks. I'm glad that this one does too. With particularly the screen for lyrical, you're going to want to hang it centered. There should be black tie lines across the top of the screen with white at center. I think we set that up last time.
Yep.
I believe it goes 9 feet out either direction, and you didn't bring the side pipes, did you?
No, they're at home.
No worries. They clamp on with a standard Cheeseboro clamp.
Okay.
So clamp it on. You tie the screen out from center. Clamp the cheese on.
We have pipes that go down the side with weights on the bottom
Side
to just,
scene, get
yeah,
tied to it.
yes, get tied to it just to stretch it out a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same thing as a lot of the corporate frames that you've set up, except they don't have that nice, fancy, neat click frame.
Okay. No worries.
Because we're poor.
Yeah. All right. Would you zip that rest of the way up out.
Pipe going out.
I wish I still had any of my fly resources. My class papers and packets and things. And you will see when the arbor comes in. At this point, you need to launch more of what you're doing than out there. Because that would suck if the arbor comes down and
Here
knocks
comes
into
the
you and
arbor.
not ready for it.
That's the arbor right there. Okay.
So nice and gentle bringing it on in. For shows in which you're getting a lot of moves on the fly system, you would have some kind of a
Indicator.
spike.
Yeah.
That spike can be tape wrapped around the pipe, wrapped around the rope. That can be tape wrapped around the rope. It can be a ribbon that you use a tool called a stab. Kind of looks like a needle. Put the ribbon through it, untwist the rope a bit, stab it on through there, and then hold one side of the ribbon, pull the rest back out through.
Oh.
That is how you would set trims, and so in most cases you won't be burying the arbor all the way down, you won't be burying the arbor all the way up. While running, you would run from your in trim, from that spike, to your out trim, and back. Okay. Any questions you have? No? Bye. I love you.
Love you.
Yep. We're going pretty much as high as this will take. That's not all. But pretty much as high as this will take. Just a little. Just squeeze one. So this is the loading ramp. This is where you may end up needing to load some weight, if you end up needing to load some weight. Typically, if something is down at working height, this or up there will be where the arbor ends up. Have you worked with pin rails before? You have?
Yeah.
So you know the tie then?
Loosely.
I don't see. Let's see. That's just a diverter. I don't see any pick lines, so it's probably not important here anyways. Okay, let's keep heading up then.
And what was the purpose of that tie line?
The reason I tied it on the way I did was so that it doesn't fall.
Okay.
The purpose of having them up here is just to have spare up here.
Okay.
I'm betting that what happened was during Lucia,
Or butterfly?
Butterfly. There we go. I'd imagine that during Butterfly we used them to tie off the cable that we sent down for the fairy lights.
Oh, okay.
So if if this had been that table, it dangled over this pipe, plugged in on one side up here, dangling down to the fairy lights, and we tied it on there in such a way that it doesn't have, that it isn't straining the weight.
Wow, cool.
And that's why we would have those tie lines up here, is just in case we end up needing tie lines up here.
I see.
Just something like that.
Wow. This is all such valuable information.
You will see there's an extra set of brakes up here. If a show were eating up, like if we brought a Broadway into this building, you've seen how much shit we load in for a Broadway.
Yeah.
You can't run from the floor for that. There's too much going on. So the flymen would come up here, lock, they would unlock everything down there, lock everything up here, and run from up here. In which case, down there, you would have these pipes at this level to prevent some jerk from being able to lock it on you.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's why they're all open up here, is so that we can have unfettered access to run them downstairs.
Wow.
A couple extra bricks. Building something out like this already. Is that dust or is that paint? That's paint. And Chris, you'll be amazed why there's that much paint dust here already.
I mean, I've seen them when they spray the inside of these theaters black. It's nasty.
Is it?
Yeah.
They have a big industrial sprayer guy, and he gets covered in
Oh, really?
Yeah.
it. Goes right on scissor lift there. Just his job.
Whoa.
Okay then.
Yeah.
Right as we get to.
I know, like, right.
Chris, do you see why there's so much light colored dust all over that? This is amazing.
Good.
Look at it, all your lift lines are actually overhead. The biggest your well gets is still wide enough to step.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really nice grid though.
This is a amazing grid. I just had to gush about it for a second. Heck.
I'm gonna
So
get,
here would be your main loading rail.
There's the brakes.
You've got a few bricks. Just a couple extra to throw on.
go ahead.
And then, I don't think we have anything all the way into the deck. But when you do, this is where the arbor is set. So you've built the arbor systems then?
Yeah. I strung all the
Wow.
the head blocks.
Were you working with the?
I was on a scaffold, and then we'd bring one line up. Every one of these lines around.
Yeah.
One line up all the way over.
Oh my gosh,
Working
that's a
with
lot.
Oasis.
Yep.
Cool. Definitely tell that to Stu and Mo and Reed.
Yeah, you're right. Why am I holding that information back?
Yeah.
Holding myself back. Been there and done it. More than a lot of people.
So yeah. I don't think I have much more to go up. To go
Let's see if I
over
can
up
get-
here.
A shot of how far up we are.
That's fair. I have a slight fear of heights.
Right? I'm going through the same thing.
I love being up high. It's so fun.
The magic thing about this building in particular,
Oh my gosh, my heart. I can't take it.
Yeah.
you're up high, but are you? You're on a floor. Everything up here is solid.
Yeah, that doesn't stop my irrational fear.
Yeah, my heart is still
I
pounding.
get that.
I worry about dropping anything. It could be a Sharpie or something. I'm like, oh.
There's a reason my hands are in my pocket, my big chunky kangaroo pocket, because I have multiple sets of keys and a phone that I've dropped multiple times. So
Oh.
I just am holding those things in a contained area.
Fair.
So cool. Gosh, how many people ever get to come up to a place like this?
Not too many.
Nope.
It's got no graffiti yet.
It's got no graffiti yet.
So head blocks, lift lines,
Point that again, show me again. Head blocks.
head blocks,
Those are head blocks, okay?
lift lines.
Okay.
The lift lines are what connect the arbor all the way out to the batten.
Ooh, wow. Gosh, it's so complex.
Yep.